Honesty isn't always convenient, but silence will always cost more. I lied once, not to betray, not to cheat, but to avoid looking weak. And it cost me my entire life. Sometimes silence isn't protection. It's quiet betrayal that kills the connection while you think you're saving it. I didn't cheat. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't disappear for days. I lied, just once, and that was enough. One click and you're with us together until we hit our first 1,000. It wasn't a big lie. No drama, no affair, no dirt. I simply said, everything's fine. When inside, everything was falling apart. When work was crumbling, money was draining away, and I couldn't remember the last time I slept peacefully. She looked at me. Are you sure? You look. Everything's good, really, I interrupted her. And smiled. Fake. That was my armor, my mask, my shield against appearing weak in front of her. In that moment I could have said everything. Opened up, admitted that I was scared, that I wasn't coping, that I was falling, but I chose silence, chose fine, because I thought that's how I was protecting her, us. But sometimes silence isn't protection. It's betrayal, just quiet, invisible, and therefore, deadly. That's where it all began. Not with shouting, not with a fight, with the first, everything's fine, when it wasn't true. Then I started going deeper into myself. She, deeper into silence. We lived side by side, but became like shadows. Crossing paths, but never touching. Every evening we had dinner together. But talked less, laughed less often, and something appeared in her gaze, distant. As if she was already on her way, away from me, but hadn't yet said she was leaving. And then, one day, she said, I don't know who you are anymore. You always say, everything's fine. But I feel like it's a lie. I don't know who I'm living with. I don't know if you love me, or if you're just wearing a face that's convenient. And I understood. That one lie, it had already taken root. And everything's fine of mine was water that fed it. I lied once, and then, simply didn't stop. Silence became a habit, until it became the end. After her words I froze. As if I'd been hit, right in the chest. But not with a bullet. With truth. You always say, everything's fine. But where there should be connection, there's emptiness. I tried to breathe out, to say that it wasn't like that I just wanted to protect, that I didn't want to lose her. But that was the irony. I lost her precisely because of this. Wait, I said, let me explain. She looked at me, tiredly, quietly, without anger. I'm tired of waiting. I hoped for so long that you would speak first. That you would open up yourself. That you'd stop hiding behind, everything's fine. But now I don't want to listen anymore. Because I've been silent for too long myself. I started saying everything, all the truth, about the stress, about sleepless nights, about the fear of being weak, about how I wanted to be support, but became a wall. I said everything that had been building up for years. And she listened, sat across from me, quietly, with a straight back, no tears, no emotions. Thank you, she said. But it's too late. I froze. What do you mean? I'm no longer the person who needed this. You kept saying, later. And I was dying in silence, now. You stayed quiet when I begged for a sign. And now, when you're ready, I'm already gone. I looked at her and for the first time understood that you can lose someone not when they leave, but when they stay. But no longer feel anything for you. One small lie, one phrase, everything's fine, can start a process that turns a close person into a roommate. Then into a shadow. Then, into someone you remember too late. She stood up, walked past me, stopped at the door. I'm not angry. I just don't wait anymore. And in that moment I understood that the most frightening thing isn't shouting. Not a fight. Not a scandal. The most frightening thing is silence where no one tries to explain anything to you anymore. Where you've already been let go, and you didn't even notice when exactly it happened. I lied once, and that one time turned into years, into distance, into indifference. After that evening I started doing everything I should have done before. I wrote to her, every morning, every night. How are you? Did you sleep well? I'm here if you need me. But these weren't words of support. These were pulses of desperation. A heart beating out of habit when the body is already dead. I bought her favorite coffee. Left it by the door. She took it, silently. I knew, before, she would have hugged me for this. And now, she just closes the door behind her. I suggested talking, suggested going out of town, just sitting in silence. She said, I'm not angry. Just, I don't feel anymore. That's the most terrifying thing you can hear from someone you recently called yours. Not, I hate you. But, I don't feel you. Hatred is an emotion, but emptiness is the end. I started replaying everything in my head. When did I turn the wrong way? When did I stop being alive next to her? When did I become fine? When did I become someone who doesn't notice how he's being lost? One day I stumbled upon an old note on my phone. A message she left a year ago. You don't have to say anything. But I feel everything, and sometimes silence hurts more than any truth. I reread it again and again, and the thought pulsed in my head. She asked. She reached out. She waited for me to become honest. Real. Alive. And I pretended we were fine. That it would pass. That she was just tired. I treated pain with silence. And now I'm trying to treat emptiness with words. Only now she's not listening. I tried to find the moment when everything could have been turned back. But there were no more such moments. They were all behind us. Destroyed. Burned by lies that I called care. We sat in the same room. Two people who once were everything to each other. Now, just bodies in space. With our own thoughts, our own screens, our own silence. And I understood. I didn't just lose her. I lost the life I could have built with her. With one, everything's fine. With one small lie. With one refusal to be real. She didn't pack a suitcase. Didn't scream. Didn't remove memories from the shelves. The morning was ordinary. Too ordinary. I woke up. She wasn't in bed. The smell of coffee. A plate with breakfast. Silence. I thought, maybe she just went out. A walk. The store. She does that sometimes to get some air. But something was wrong. The air was different. The space was different. As if someone had removed the soul from the room. And the body of the apartment remained. On the table, a note. Without drama. Without accusations. I tried to wait. Tried to believe. Tried to stay. But when you pretend to live all the time, at some point you stop living. And I want to live. My hand trembled. As if my body knew what my brain refused to accept. I sat down. Opened the window. And just sat. A minute. An hour. An eternity. No one came through the door. No dishes clinked in the kitchen. The phone was silent. I replayed in my head everything I'd said to her in the past week. And realized, there was almost nothing of the real me there. There were routine phrases. How are things? Don't forget to eat. I'm busy right now. But there wasn't. I'm scared. I'm confused. I feel bad, and I don't know what to do about it. I was hiding, and thought I was doing the right thing. But she didn't want perfect. She wanted real, even broken, even tired. But I didn't give her that. I gave her a mask. And she got tired of kissing something that couldn't feel. Now this apartment is quiet. Not the silence where you can embrace. But the kind where you've already been let go, and weren't even asked if you wanted it. And I understood. Silence can be louder than any screams I was so afraid of. He thought he was saving the relationship, by staying quiet. By not burdening her. By being stable. By hiding. But sometimes, you don't spare. You just disappear. Because honesty isn't about comfort. It's about courage to be alive. And if you can't say what's inside, you're no longer with the person. You're near them, but you're not with them. You don't always get a second chance. Sometimes, later, means never. Sometimes truth is needed now, even if it's scary. Even if it hurts. Because nothing costs as much as silence when you're asked to speak. And if you still can, speak. Now. One truth. One phrase. One step. While you're still being heard. While there's still someone to hear.